Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us on My Other's Keeper. So sorry we are late tonight. Oh my word. Um, yes, happy 2 years to the first year. We are finished the first. We're on our second.
We're on our second year.
So,
Yay, year one.
On the second year. Yay, year one. And there's my very, very blurry hand. Okay. And for those of you who heard on the Village yesterday, Misha, she debuted my new theme song, which will be coming along to join the channel sometime in the not super distant future.
Yes.
Theme song? What?
Theme
I missed a
song.
lot.
You did.
Even Body Illusions by accident. My fault. Replayed that again today on her live because I didn't even realize that I was in her StreamYard. I have a bunch of StreamYards right now because going in for the Village, and with me not being all here, sometimes I went into the wrong one, and I took that one and put it on whenever we went on live, and I never took it back off. And so I got up today and saw her live, and I'm like, oops. Oh, how sweet! And then I was like, oh no.
Yeah, and that's yeah. Things happen like that, and you just have to shake your head and go, oh well.
Right, live and learn. I mean, now I can't hear you,
Indigo. Yeah, Indigo, we can't hear you at all.
Oh yeah,
there we go.
I muted myself. Sorry, I was eating, and then I was like, oh yeah, I need to unmute myself when I'm talking. I was saying I'm so excited for that you have your first year.
Yes,
I am up for the channel. That's crazy.
Isn't that great?
That is awesome.
I can't believe it's only been 1 year. Are you sure? It feels like 10 years. I don't know.
I know, right?
It feels like forever, but at the same time, no, it's only a year.
Hi, Brian and Body Illusion. Nice to see you guys.
Hello, folks. Glad to see you here.
I apologize. I'm not going to be able to watch the chat at all today.
Oh,
it's okay.
No, that's fine.
I've got my eyes on it.
Okay.
Hear that, guys? I see you.
Oh, Indigo sees you.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So today was supposed to be with Ben, and he was sick for quite some time, but now he's feeling better, and the rest of his family is sick.
Oh, poor Ben.
So rather than having him try to, I know, with the whole house. So rather than having him try to concentrate here, I figured let's free him to be able to take care of his family, reduce the amount of stress. Because I mean, if I'm causing stress, that's the last place I want you to be. So yeah. You're available too, Nico. Okay.
DJ, hi.
World Hockey.
Can I say really quick how amazing it is that you have 240 subscribers, 238 videos, and 20,502 views going into your second year as a channel. Isn't that crazy?
That is awesome.
That is awesome.
That's amazing.
Awesome. Okay, from singing Rock Lobster. Hang on, what is this here?
Oh, hey, Brazy Girl. Wait, is it Brazy Girl?
Oh, from Ben. Brazy. I think, anyways. I say Brazy like crazy.
Ah, yes.
But I may be wrong. This is what I have for.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, so DJ was singing with Body Illusion. Okay, for some reason.
And then Krysti said that she will be back on. She's just sorting out some camera issues.
Okay. Ben is the sharp-dressed man for me, for sure he is. He actually had a great hat on. We were supposed to be talking about body language. Yes. Yeah. And he and I have a real fascination with it. So once he can actually come on, we will be doing that. Unfortunately, tonight will not be that night.
Do you know what is an interesting fact?
What's that?
Prior to the lie detector, which is used to create a baseline.
Yeah.
They used to just cold interview people and then go from there. But what's interesting too is in the history of crime scene analysis, before they had all, videos where you can see our face and, zoom in and stuff. They used to actually measure the distance between your eyes and like measure your face and everything. And that's how they would come up with sketches, is they would be like, okay, the ears are like this many inches apart or whatever.
Right.
And body language is fascinating because I feel like we're all not trained in it, but like we're conditioned through society, like that certain things that we do are received well or not received well. So I can't wait for him to feel better so he could hear his studies that he's been doing.
Well, we can talk about body language and the study of it, like our fascination with it, because I love it. There was a TV show on. Hi, Cosmic.
It's ironic that my camera isn't working on the day that body language is spoken about.
Yes,
I was just going to say, and I never show mine, so
that's okay. That's okay.
But it's hard because, if you get used to things the way that they were before everything happened, a few years back, we got ourselves acclimated and we were able to, through our lives growing up, and we got used to how people acted and how the different things that we would see would interplay.
Yep.
And now without being able to see everybody, without all of that, I saw OBS. Yes. Without actually knowing how people are taking something, the getting lost in translation via text and all that. It's made such a difference. My confidence is not nearly the same as it used to be. I was always been an introvert, but I was always the most extroverted introvert you'd ever meet.
That's me, actually. Yeah.
Well, see, we're all, a bunch of us, I think, are like that now. But or always were and just are coming out with it. But anyways, I agree. What I was gonna say is it's Mom and Daddy would take us to Brahms. Every Friday night. That was our outing. And we would go in and get our ice cream. Yeah, we would go in and get our ice cream, and then we would come back out to the car and we would eat our ice cream, and we were trolls. I just now thought that. Wow. We would sit and we would people watch, and we would come up like with Look Who's Talking, those movies, and we'd be like, okay, they're having this kind of a conversation and they're breaking up, or they gambled it all away, just different conversations. And so I think how I got some of mine. Yeah, just different situations. And I think that's how I got a lot of mine. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. See, I'm actually what's called an ambivert. Whether you're an introvert or extrovert depends on how you recharge your batteries. You could be somebody who is very outgoing, but you need to be internal and alone to recharge your batteries. That makes you an introvert. If you are somebody who likes your quiet space, but in order to recharge your batteries, you need to be in a public situation or at a party or something like that, you're an extrovert. And I'm both. So for example, when I am feeling like I need to recharge my batteries, either I need to be alone in my room, or I need to do something like this, or teaching, or something else where I am doing that. So I really am very specifically an ambivert.
Same. I was just it's not really a diagnosis, but one of my therapists was like, I think you're actually an ambivert, because I would get to a point where I would be like, okay, it's 6 months to 7 months of being extroverted, and then I need like 3 months where I'm just disappear.
Yeah,
it doesn't really work when your online friends worry about you, though.
No, it doesn't.
Which is what I found out during lockdown when I made another group of online friends, and I was like, didn't tell them that I had scheduled a whole month offline, because in my mind I was like, oh, I always do this, it's like my normal thing. And then they're like, are you dead? Like, what's going on? I'm like, no, I'm in my introverted stage where I need to be alone for like a month and like offline and reading or doing whatever, and then once I fully recharge from that time off, I can come back and just like do my normal stuff.
Nothing ever happened.
Yeah,
I do the ghosting. But
Aria, hi mama.
We have to make sure. I have like a major issue with when people disappear. Normally I go, oh,
Yes.
there she is. I go all crazy and like stalkerish because I want to make sure that my friends are okay. But if we don't do that sometimes, if we don't do that, there's a lot of times that it can cause problems too. Like for instance, whenever we did the live stream.
Yeah.
We get so busy, we don't, and then something happens. And then, it's good for us to communicate and to, even if we're going to disappear, at least an emoji, something, to let everybody know that we're okay and vice versa.
Right.
Oh yeah. So I'll usually say like, I've decided this month I'm going offline, but I'll tell that to everybody. So that when I do it, I don't scare anyone.
Yes.
Right. That's exactly right.
By that display, I think I'm an extrovert, but
a what?
But I'm an ambivert. I'm an extroverted ambivert. I'm an introvert, but I'm an ambivert. So I need people, but I need to be away from people. But I need to be good times with people, but I need to be away. I'm both,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, part of any personality test that I've done, they'll have, well, there's this type, and then the polar opposite is this type, and then there's this type which is complementary to this type, and whatever. I have always been right at the center, because with bipolar disorder, it literally depends on the day. And being an ambivert, it depends on the day. So one day I will react this way as one of these, but the other a day, like if it's a week later or even the next day, I will react 100% opposite. And it's just, I'm always right there in the center of where those personality tests put you.
Mary was talking about personality tests I think it was yesterday. And, it's very interesting to me. It always was an INFJ for me, but I guarantee you, if I were to retake that today,
I'll answer those whoever I like on the day. It depends on how I like the answer. I'll be like, I like that answer.
Right?
I don't believe. I think those personality tests can be a little bit dangerous, because if you don't like whatever you get at the end, if you don't like what the end result is, how's it going to affect you?
Hey, when you do personality tests, you also have to use it with a little bit of logic. You have to be able to look at it and say, okay,
take it to your therapist.
Yeah.
And actually, a good personality test you have to pay for. None of those free ones.
Right.
I will say the ones people base, I guess, everything off of, actually, like how you learn and whatever. Also, don't factor in neurodivergence. They were based off of people who are like neurotypical.
Excellent.
And I feel like that's the reason why those of us with like neurospiciness are like, well, this doesn't fit me. Like, this doesn't feel right. Because you're going off of like a baseline of society that isn't, like, I think they need to figure out a way to retest the personality spectrum, working in what we now know about like bipolar and BPD and like all these other neurodivergencies.
Yeah.
Or I like to say neurospiciness, because again, like, what is normal, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Normal.
It's a setting on a dryer. Yeah. So like I show on mine, I like neurosparkly because I like sparkly things. Like, look at my hat.
Show us your
I
nail.
agree. I love that.
I got my hat at like what you guys would call Dollar General. Here it's called Dollarama. And this is just a cheap bracelet that I have glued to the side.
I love all of Kim's like self-made hats. She's gotten me inspired to do it myself too, because I love hats. It's just like my head got bigger, I guess, or maybe my hats were too small. I don't know. One of the two.
So I do, because, and here's my lovely hair. So because the hats never fit, what I do is they are always too big. So I just weave through a piece of string or a shoelace, and I tighten it to whatever my head size is, and then it fits perfectly. It's not going to fly off on me, and Yeah, fits nicely.
I love it.
Oh,
Yeah. Honey, I'm full of it. I mean, advice.
I love that.
Full
Love
of
it.
advice. Thank you.
I'm
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Advice.
And I was gonna say too, like,
Yeah.
I think Nico makes the point too, like, the tests are skewed because they're based on whatever decade they were created in, are based off a random population. They're not like updated to fit what we know in the modern world. And also,
Right.
I think it gets to the point of like, isn't it easier to figure out how people learn by letting them going into a learning environment and figure it out themselves rather than try to pre-guess from a test? Because again, it's like that question of the Harry Potter houses, right? They sort them at age 11. I didn't know who I was at 11. I didn't even know who I was at 18. It took me an extra like 10 years to figure that out.
Yeah.
So it's like I always wonder what would have happened if you get, resorted year 4 or something, like when your personality starts developing.
I don't know how I am right
then
now.
again, you could also give a whole bunch of kids a tin and a tin opener and say, here, open it, and you're going to have a whole bunch who can open it and a whole bunch who can't. So, that's a whole level of some who can, some who can't. So, you need to give. There's a scaffolding of success you need to give kids. You need to teach them
absolutely.
skills.
Yeah.
So
you're exactly right.
Need to go in and,
hi, Daniel.
Who is black and white
and say,
gray?
Yeah, you need to go. You can't just say, here, do this. You need to go, this is how you do this. This is how you do this.
Because I'm an audio-visual kinesthetic learner. I had a cute background wait, hang on, I want to make.
Yeah, I got this quite a few months ago now because I found it again at my dollar store. And
look at us.
Just a key thing.
I love it.
I saw it on my
We all matched.
Yeah,
we do.
But
I saw you breaking it
too. Like,
get mine.
I found it really interesting talking to
my friend. I obtained it.
You what?
I obtained it. I didn't steal.
You obtained it.
Oh,
obtained it.
Yeah.
I love the look she says when she says that.
Yeah.
Me thinks that there's more story to that.
Me thinks you could be correct.
I think so.
The 5-finger discount. Anyway.
No.
Pardon? No.
I wouldn't.
4 fingers and 1 thumb.
Oh, there we go. 4-finger, 1 thumb discount. All right. So yes, who was I just seeing here? Body illusion. I like to decorate hats like your son does. So I'm going to take this off my ear. Okay. But yeah, I like to decorate hats the same way your son does. Just you get a cheap hat, you get something cheap that goes with it, but it looks fantastic when you put them together.
And you know what's
it's like making food.
Bargain bin at Joann Fabrics, where they put all the weird cuts where like you can't sell it because you ran out of yardage, so you just put it in the bargain bin. Right. You can get really cheap felt and like velvet and stuff and just like glue it or secure it to, like you said, like a dollar store hat.
Yep.
That's worth thrift stores and antiques. Huh?
Okay, Krysti.
I don't know where
I hardly hear you, babe.
We can barely hear you, my friend. And what we're getting is very windy. So I don't know what's going on where you're. Okay, that would do it. Okay.
Wind happens.
Okay. Wind happens. That's right. We try not to be windy personally, but girl can only do what a girl can do.
Well, we can't be windy because Windy's windy.
I do the audio. I can do the mic volume.
So yes, I'm going to actually, Teresa, Teresa has given 4s for Ben and family. I don't know what 4s mean, but
I think
here
it's the
1s
same as when we
means
do
just
1.
Okay, so I'm
Angel.
going to do 1s for Ben and his family, because here 1s means loves and hugs and all of the good stuff that we can send. So it's yeah. It's Windy City Thetan visiting. Okay, that could be. Oh no.
I still have to understand what that means, because I know I
Windy
get
City
mixed up.
Thetan. That's
Oh, yeah,
Chicago.
So Paul / Windy City Thetan Watch is a protester with the Scientology movement. But his channel name is Windy City Thetan Watch. It's a big name.
That's
But he
quite
goes
the
by
name.
Windy for short. But in
Okay.
Chicago, they also call it the Windy City because of politics. But
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, and the prairies where I live, that's just generally windy, because I mean, there's nothing to slow it down. So yeah, there's just us. But I really want to thank everybody for coming, and yes, taking care of Ben. We need to take care of Ben. We need to take care of each other. So that's awesome. There is. I have forgotten what I was just going to say. It was like right there, and then suddenly it's gone. It happens.
I do that too. We can relate. Thoughts happen. They disappear too.
Yeah. So in today's day and age, doing body language analysis is actually a science. It's not just pseudoscience like what people used to like to say it is, because there have been blind studies, there's been twin studies, there's been all of these things. And I am going to just talk a little bit about what people look for. There's a group. Hang on, I'm going to share my screen. Come on.
Do it.
I'm going to try to share my screen because my computer's being slow. Oh, there we go. Hang on. Do it. Window.
Oh my gosh, twin studies are the most fascinating thing, because there's ones that were done without people's knowledge, but it's fascinating because they ended up adopted by separate families but went into the same career. And there was even 2 sets of twins in a twin study who married the other's twin without knowing it.
That's crazy.
So they were like a girl set and a boy set were kind of like thrown into this study, adapted out, but then each of the 2 of the sets met each other's sibling and got married. And then they were like, oh wait, why do we look like each other?
Yeah. Tell me, why is it that we now
why does your sister-in-law look like me? Oh, she's my sister.
I have always looked into that for me, because I've always, with the DID, with the issues that I have and being adopted, I've always felt like there was a part of me missing. And so, of course, when you're adopted, your mind goes to 1,000,001 things and 1,000,001 storylines. And so and there's actually more stuff to it.
Absolutely.
With me as well. I've got like the indentation in my arm that Mom said that the doctor gave me a SH thing whenever I was a baby. And it's indented like the size of my finger, like my pinky. You can push in. And so I've always wondered, where they put the tracking, the stupid things that goes through a person's mind when you don't know what you've got to, And so, yeah, the adoption, the twin studies have always been very fascinating to me. Very, very much so.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, you're going to have to tell me if you can hear what's going on when I press play, okay?
Nada.
No?
Nada.
Okay.
I'm wondering did you hit share sound when you hit present?
Try stop sharing and then do it again, and then bottom right hand corner.
Okay, bottom right hand corner of
hit present.
Present.
And then
share screen.
And then on the bottom right-hand corner, it should show share audio.
Yeah, it says also share audio.
And it's clicked?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I know, unless you've got the
to share audio, share tab or screen instead. So I need to share tab or screen. There we go. Also set system audio. Okay, so we're going to be infinite here for a minute. Okay, you'll hear yourself. You share everything you hear, including their voice. That's what happened. Okay, I'm fine with that. Okay. So we're going to try this. All right. Are we ready? Okay, let's try this again.
We have eye accessing, the storytelling.
The detail he had around that, everything was lined up.
We have eye accessing, the storytelling, the showing, not telling. All of the things that need to be there are there.
I didn't see any adapters. Not one. Not one. His illustrators are right on point, and he did illustrate a lot. So, and when he was breaking eye contact, he was doing it at the right time. I saw nothing. I saw zero on this guy.
You know, I'm eye movement guy, and his eyes, when they were moving, he was going to visual accessing. He did not adapt at all. He illustrated. We expect when someone is lying or making something up, their illustrators drop. The only time his illustrators dropped is when he was trying to talk to you about feelings and looking you dead in the eye. Pretty powerful stuff. This is the guy, 110%.
When we do something nice for somebody, especially if we do it in secret with no expectation of reward, we have a chance to really help one another. And that's my goal. People ask me, Santa, do this, do that, you know, can you bring me this? But they often forget that Christmas is about giving, not getting.
Okay. So that's my little...
Cute.
Isn't that cute?
That was cute.
Okay.
It's fascinating too when they talk about like where people look when they think, but I'd like to see that updated with what we know about trauma. Because like with trauma, with your brain literally blocking it from your memory, I could really see you like looking down, or like if people were to ask me about something I don't remember, I might break eye contact and look down, or like look untrustworthy because it's like, well, I don't remember. So I wonder if that's a part of it too, like with learning how to read people's body language who've had trauma.
That's what I've been always worried about, because I don't act like a normal person.
This is what the guys, the people we were watching is from a group called the Behavior Panel. These men have had combined tens of thousands of hours of body language research. Together, there's tens of thousands of hours. And yes, they made to 1 million subs yesterday. Huzzah. That was awesome. Yes, for sure. So, but I need to change that, because I'm not done 2 years. I'm on my second year. So I need to change that.
She just hit the year mark, January 1st.
I hit the year mark yesterday. So,
Krysti looks
but do you know what though, Nico? Okay, this is what they're doing. First of all, pardon?
Do what?
That's funny. I'm trying to stop the VIN.
Oh.
I appreciate your efforts. I really appreciate your efforts.
Yeah, I can go. I was going to go even further.
So when we're talking about how to read somebody's body language, what we're going to talk about is Rick Spicer, 1 year to you yesterday. Same here. You and I share an anniversary.
Rick, oh my goodness.
Woohoo! And
hi, Rick.
Yes,
good to see you.
Absolutely. Glad.
Congratulations on your year.
Rick, that is awesome.
One reason some behavior is cultural and some is training, but there are, yes, you need a personal baseline. That is number one. Number one, because some of it is cultural, some of it is training. And then there are things that are not, that they are simply the way the brain works. For example, if you're interested in something, your pupils will dilate. Doesn't matter what culture, it doesn't matter whatever. It is simply what will happen. Your eyes will dilate. If you are feeling stressed, you will frequently feel flushed in the neck or in the cheeks. And that's a stress thing. Again, it's not cultural. It is simply how the body works. So what these gentlemen are looking at are really the things that are simply how the body works. Okay.
And what I love is yes. Oh, you finish, and then I had a thought. Sorry.
What they do then is they talk about you have to do the baseline, and then you have to look for clusters. Any one thing does not necessarily mean deception or truth or whatever. Something you had mentioned, Indigo, was looking away from somebody thinking, oh, that means that they're lying. Well, actually, it's the opposite. If somebody's going to stare you in the face, they're looking to see if you're believing them. Whereas somebody who is trying to remember and actually is looking in their memory for something, they're trying to tell the truth. You'll notice right now, I am trying to remember what's going on, and I'm looking up and off to the side. Okay, so usually you'll have, and it depends on the person, and that's why the baseline is important. You'll have one person who thinks up to the side to try to recall information, and maybe down to the other side to remember emotions. So if somebody is trying to talk to you, exactly, and I find myself doing it all the time. Yes, Cosmic.
Do they take neurodivergence into any account into any of this? Because I do a lot of this, and I'm neurodivergent, and I don't lie.
Yeah.
And I feel like neurodivergency isn't taken into account in any of it at all.
Actually, they do talk about that as well. No, you're not wrong. You are not wrong. Neurodivergency is something that they have to take into account, but they need to know it ahead of time. Because somebody with
so they need to do that.
Yep, they have.
I've had to do. I'm having to go through a legal process, and I have to constantly remind people that I'm neurodivergent. Don't forget, I'm neurodivergent. So please don't take my constant fiddliness. And I'm fiddly, so I'm just fiddly. I move around, so I'm really sorry for my fiddliness. You know.
That's right.
They do have to know that ahead of time, because you'll see too, like that was a big issue in the Gypsy Rose case. Was people got upset for I'm forgetting the guy's name, but the guy who the boyfriend, they were saying like he clearly has neurodivergency, and they felt his sentence was unfair because that wasn't taken into account in the situation. And I think about that too, because like Krysti was saying, like there's so many different ways for like somebody's neurodivergence to show.
Yeah.
Like I talk with my hands, which you can't see because they're not on screen, but like my hands are always like flying everywhere. Like,
well, you'll notice my head is always moving. It's like, okay, and it's mostly because I'm trying to encourage somebody to continue. This is my continue. It's not me saying yes, I know, I know. That is a personal. This is what it is, and that's why knowing the baseline. So knowing that somebody's neurodivergent will help. But watching them for, say, half an hour talk in general will help to see those hands moving, where the eyes go. Even somebody with Tourette's, you know, they're able to look at somebody with Tourette's who has major issues with movement and all of that other stuff. And they will be able to say, okay, and they won't be able to say they're lying. They'll be saying this person is experiencing stress. And that's the difference. The question is then, why are you experiencing stress? So,
and also like
Bradley, go ahead.
It's also for me, you know how sometimes.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Krysti.
Sorry, for me it takes a certain amount of time to process things. So you know when people say lies, it takes time to think of a lie. To me, it's just taking the time to think of an answer.
Yes, and that's right. See, that's where these folks, they actually, because they've done so many hours upon hours upon hours of analysis, and these are the ones who teach the FBI how to do body analysis. These are the ones who teach the spies and the CIA and the military how to do behavior analysis. So these guys really are the real deal. And actually, Ben is friends with a couple of them. I mean, like, dude,
Ben is
that's
so
why I wanted
cool.
Ben to talk about. Isn't that cool?
But,
it's like
but
being
I was
friends with
gonna say
Martha
really
Stewart
quick,
and being into cooking. You know,
something I wish was a little bit easier to, I guess, get out into the public is like destigmatizing narcissism and sociopathy, because I feel like people throw those terms around a lot when they don't apply at all.
Yep.
And like, for example, one of my friends from a different community came out to me and he was like, yeah, I'm technically on the sociopath spectrum from trauma that I've been through. And I had no idea that it could be a trauma response. And so I think that's something that I find so interesting with body language and with Brazzy's question, do you think narcissists can fake it? I think they can try. I think they can mimic, but you can tell when somebody is not being genuine versus if they're like, because I think Krysti was saying, like, with neurodivergent people, like, sometimes they take a while to just process in general. You can tell the difference between that and somebody taking a minute to process to tell you a lie. But I think, again, you have to kind of also trust your instinct. And I think we're also often women or female at birth people are taught to distrust our body's instinct, because kind of like you were saying,
they do talk about that,
especially because you'll get like a sick feeling in your stomach, or you'll feel icky, or whatever your body does for you when you're like, oh, this feels wrong. But we're as women, we're told it's okay. That instinct is wrong.
This is a lot about
I'm loving how big the chat is.
Hi, I am the Noise Opera. Good to see you.
Yes.
This is actually a lot about what
Humana, good to see you.
Is actually going to be based on, is that is destigmatizing narcissism in general, is because it's not just men who are narcissists. Because it's not just like narcissism isn't just men. It's also women.
No, for sure.
Everyone has narcissism traits, because we have to have some level of narcissism.
You have to, exactly. Absolutely. It's self-preservation.
And to be honest, it's so common. And the narcissism, to be they'll be so upset to know how common narcissism is, because they're not treated, they're not diagnosed, and that's the thing that's rare about narcissism. They're treated and diagnosed. And that's the only thing that's rare.
Yeah. Well, they do talk about the difference between being a narcissist and having self-preservation. Okay. Like you said, everybody has to have at least some, right? And then being a psychopath versus a sociopath. And one is born that way and one is made that way.
Yeah. And I think the thing is, they're not like, they're sliding scales, right?
They
is what we're coming to understand, where it's like you could have traits from, but not be diagnosed as.
Right.
And I think the difference is, it's interesting because I feel like there's been a growth in the use of the word narcissist lately. I feel like in culture, or with the fascination with like true crime and stuff like that.
Moneymaker. It's a moneymaker.
It is. Yeah. And there's lots of people out there who are very much this is this. These guys are like none of that. They're like, do not ever trust somebody who has a definitive this is yes, this is no. Absolutists, that's the word that they use. Don't trust absolutists, because no one person is absolutely all of that, right? So that's why I love these guys, is because they take into account culture, they take into account language. For example, if I'm Arabic, I'm going to touch my chest when I mean something is particularly meaningful to me, or I promise I'll touch my chest, and that's cultural. Whereas, for example, somebody else in a different culture might hold their hands up like this and say, I promise, right? So again, it depends on your culture. It depends on all of that. And that needs to be known ahead of time. So, a song you wrote recently about being a narcissist. Ooh, cool. An HSP, emotional empath. What is an HSP?
Highly sensitive person.
There we go. Okay. See, I don't know these things. Okay. Awesome.
And I think that's another thing is, in my experience, people who are empaths don't typically run around being like, hi, I'm an empath.
You'd be surprised. There's a lot who do that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in terms of like, how do I put this? Like, I think there's studies that have shown that empathy is taught, but for people who are empaths who can like actually feel other people's emotions, I think you're born with that. Like, to me, that's an intrinsic part of you as a person, because they have shown that like in animal tribes that like, or even with people, I think there was a study they did where they were like, okay, it illustrated that like empathy is taught, like you're taught to kind of think about what is it like to be in someone else's shoes kind of mentality.
Okay. I was going to push back a little bit on that. In that,
y'all, I gotta go. I love y'all.
Okay,
right,
love you. In that, when you talk about babies, for example, one baby will naturally comfort another baby, and that is something that naturally happens. So in that way, I'm going to suggest that empathy as an idea is natural. But then when you're, say, 2 or 3 years old, you are a little narcissist on wheels, and everything is about yourself. And at that point, we need to start putting in our cultural empathy, our culturally appropriate empathetic responses. So I think it's both. I don't think it's one or another.
But I would say, I mean, there's stages of your life where you're supposed to be center focused to figure out who you are, or like develop your personality or push back against authority. That's why being a teenager is so hard, is because you're like at a point where you're starting to realize that you have agency, but you're still a child. So you still have people try to tell you what to do. And you're like, wait a minute, but what if I don't want to do what you're telling me to do type of thing? I think that's a little different than like narcissistic focus, because I still think you're able to like understand other people's are going through the same thing. I think that's the interesting thing. Like you said, I didn't know that about babies, that they're like,
oh yeah, you have 2 babies crying in a room, and especially twins who've been in utero, they will automatically cuddle with each other. When my younger daughter was maybe a year old, as an infant, it is a survival mode. Absolutely. If it's not trained away, parts of empathy, sorry, I'm just going to do Nico here. As an infant, it is a survival mode. Problem is, if it's not trained away, and parts of empathy has to be taught, like sharing and caring. Just look at spoiled kids. Absolutely. So Absolutely. I would agree. It is a mixture of nurture and nature. Some people, myself, I was a much more natural sharer than my sister was. And it's not because she was older. It was natural to me. Somebody would say, okay, please share this. And I'm like, okay, yep, no problem. There you are. It's like me being emotionally or verbally an oversharer, right? And she is just that much, little bit more constrained. So that's nature. The nurture part is when you are, 3 or 4 years old or going to school for the first time, so that you don't have a spoiled brat. You have to say, okay, let's share with the friends. Let's let everybody have a turn. And some people are just naturally better at it than other people are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. I'm looking at the chat here. So, do a show on pathological liars and how they get involved with them and their drama, and how we as empaths tend to fall for that. Yeah, you're not wrong. Absolutely.
I have a show on narcissism and like how narcissism and how generally how narcissism and how narcissism and it's drawn into empath. I have one. I did a report and I did all the citations and all that sort of stuff. I've got one all coming up.
Yeah, you were saying that you have echolalia. Is that what you called it?
Yeah, echolalia. So I had echoism. It's called.
Echoism.
It's, the opposite spectrum. Sorry. Yeah, it's the opposite spectrum of narcissism, and it's where I'll go out of my way to do anything and everything for anyone, to the point where to my detriment.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm going to suggest that
people walk all over me.
Yeah, I'm going to suggest that an empath is a new phrase that just means an empathetic person, right?
Well,
so,
it's actually it's people who are attuned to the emotions of others, and you actually do and can actually absorb their feelings.
Oh.
I have linked with people in my family before going through hard times where I wasn't talking to them, but I was feeling their exact emotions and everything. And it's that you can understand their feelings, but also that you for me, I get very overwhelmed in work environments where I go in and I'm not stressed out, but everyone on my team is stressed out. And then by the second hour I'm there, I'm like, can you all chill? So I have to do a lot of mental meditation, or for example, every morning I wake up, I say, how do I feel? I feel happy today. So if I walk into a situation where someone's upset, I can tell I'm not upset, but I feel that way because I'm taking on somebody else's feelings.
Right.
And sometimes with empaths too, I often wonder if people with autism who are also empaths, it's like a double whammy of overstimulation. Because it's like they're already overstimulated with life in general. And now you're saying that they have to understand their feelings, but are also taking on other people's feelings. It must be so overwhelming for my friend who's an empath and autistic at the same time. Sometimes he's
goodness.
I can't go out this weekend. Life is too much. And I'm like, that's a fair statement.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, I can't imagine the double whammy, right? Just, yeah, that's a whole nother layer right there.
Or like Barbie's saying, she absorbs the feelings of people around her. So going into like crowded rooms can be stressful.
Absolutely. Yep.
I feel like my meter went down in lockdown. I used to be very social and I would go out a lot more before lockdown and be able to be fine. But now if I go, like I went to my friend's white elephant party yesterday and then I got home and I'm like, was I always this drained after events? Like,
Yeah.
wow, that was a lot of energy. I'm more aware of where my energy goes now.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right. No, and I think that did happen to a lot of us because we did get so used to being isolated that going into public situations, we just become that much more triggered, I guess, for lack of a better term. So there's two different situations where I was, hey, Joel, where I was, I don't know if it's empathetically joined or psychically joined. But the first one was when I was in grade 12. I was in a vehicle or in a small bus headed off to a Canadian Forces base, Army base, to do some junior Army type cadet type stuff. And then in a separate vehicle was my dad coming with another group of people, and they were going to follow behind us. And suddenly I was sitting in my seat and I'm going, Dad just got arrested. There was no reason to think that he got arrested. There was no reason. There was no pre-investigation that I knew about. There was nothing that would have ever put that into your brain. But then there it was. It was just, Dad got arrested. And then I'm like, no, something must have happened to my grandma. I'm just overreacting. And then we found out once we got to our location that my dad actually did get arrested. And I was right. That just absolutely floored me. And then the next time I can remember, there was my sister was having her first baby, and I was on birth control, so I should have been fairly regular with my menstruation and that kind of stuff. And suddenly, and I do mean suddenly, I had the worst cramps I had ever had. And I was menstruating when I should not have been menstruating. And that's when my sister went into labor with her oldest boy.
Oh, wow. Yep.
Oh,
that
right?
Sounds like an empathic link to me.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that was not fun. I phoned her up later. I'm like, thanks a lot, babe.
Could have warned me.
That's right.
When I was in college, my birth sister's sister-in-law lost a baby. Like, she had a baby and they only survived for like a month in the hospital. But I didn't know this. But for about 2 months, I was just crying every time I saw a baby. I felt just like the worst feeling ever, and I would just burst into tears. And then I ended up calling her the month after that to be like, what's going on? Because also too, sometimes if I link with a person and I might not know what they're going through, but their name will keep popping into my head. Like, I have to call them. I have to call them. I have to call them. And then like I do, and they tell me all this stuff. And then it's like, okay, that makes sense now why I was like, because at that point I was just in college. I didn't have kids. My sister wasn't with my brother-in-law. They hadn't had their first baby yet. So I was like, why are babies just making me so sad? Shouldn't they make me happy? Yeah.
One would think. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, when I was in my early 20s, I was doing hair. So I'd work at a salon, and working in a hair salon, doing somebody's hair, as you know, is incredibly personal. Like, how many times do you allow somebody just to rub your head? That is not something that's normal. So I'll have done somebody's hair or whatever. And then weeks, months, ages and ages would go by, and I'd suddenly think, what's ever happened to that person? Almost without fail, within a week, they would phone me. And it wasn't because it wasn't because they were due for a haircut. It was just, oh, by the way, I was thinking about this. There was one time when when I was living in the city that I'm close to, and I was talking to some of my coworkers about a bus driver from a different city that I had known, because we were talking in context of I talk to everybody. I talk to bus drivers, and I'll become friends with bus drivers on my route going to and from, all that kind of stuff. 2 days later, I get a drunk dial from my old bus driver at my new workplace. So he's phoning up and he is wasted. And he phoned me at my workplace. I didn't know he knew where I worked. So, and luckily it was a very not busy time of the day, but he just kept going and going and going and going. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I really got to hang up now. And he's like, okay, I love you too. Bye. Just like, so just for some reason, my brain, like you said, you just kind of connect to people. And I can't really control it, but it's just weird. Weird.
Yeah. Or like to body language too, is like you tend to mimic people that you respect or that you're around a lot. And for me, I always have to tell people, the longer I know you, the more I'm probably going to sympathetically mimic your accent. So no, I'm not making fun of you.
Yes.
Or stuff like that.
Or
when I had a best friend in college and it was me and my 2 guy best friends, we hung out like 24/7. People be like, it's really creepy that you guys like mimic each other. And I'm like, it's something our brains do as a tribal like.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a survival thing.
Being, like as humans.
Yeah. Yeah. Joel says, I don't know how many times I've started thinking about someone and they call or show up. Absolutely. And we are not able to harness its power. It is simply there or it's not. And there's no way I could ever try to predict when it's not going to work. So, okay, here's an interesting comment. Barbie, sounds like you're an intuitive empath. I have to ground myself in a protective egg before I go into a store. The chatter and energy is overwhelming. I stay home a lot.
That's a good way to say it. I actually did an energy workshop a couple years ago where, like, once they explained to me how to visualize it, I can actually like sort of make it that energy cocoon around myself, because I would be the same way. Like, also, I just get people drawn into my orbit who need to like offload hard things in their life, and I never see them again.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I'm at the park reading, someone sits next to me, they sigh, I'm like, oh, what's wrong? And they're like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, whoa, okay. Oh, make a wish. Wait, is that AM or PM?
That would be AM, I imagine. Looking at the lighting.
Oh, wait,
in her
because
surrounding.
She's a day ahead of us. That's right.
Yep. Okay, so Joel is a marketing guy. He has a degree in it and have done it most of his life. For the last 27 years as an auctioneer. You must read body language. Being able to do it has been an interesting thing. Absolutely. Absolutely. We kind of
be cool. You get to bed. Hey, yeah.
I know, wouldn't that be fun?
I haven't.
So I think we kind of form a protective circle, kind of like buffaloes do against predators such as wolves. So we gather here in the village. Absolutely. Absolutely. Gathering here in the village is a safe space for us to put our heads in the center and our butts to the outside, and we can just show the world our hiney.
Like an ostrich.
Like an ostrich.
I'm hiding.
Yes.
No, your big butt. I still see your butt. Can't see my face though. I think that's what it is, right? It's learning how to navigate who you feel comfortable around and who you don't. And, respecting the different reasons why other people around you feel the way they do. And I think that's another thing with body language is I think I tend to be defensive of people I care about. And maybe I don't need to necessarily do that. You know what I mean? Like I'll read a situation and I might hear something wrong or read someone's body languages. Like again, because I have my own things that have happened in my past. That also informs how we interpret other people's body language. As if somebody does something.
Cosmic's gonna go prepare lunch.
Yay! Yummy foods.
I just had some bacon for supper. So yeah.
Love you, Cosmic.
Takes
have a 10-minute day.
Break. Have a good day, my friend. Enjoy the breeze.
I know it looks so nice there.
Doesn't it? It's so pretty.
It's summer for them. Well, maybe not. T said it was 107 degrees in Perth the other day. And I said, man, I'm out. That's too much for me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I'm definitely a cooler weather kind of girl. You can always put more layers on, but there's only so much you want me to take off. Because, I mean, frankly, I'm not for everybody.
That is a good way to put it. I used to be cold all the time because I had hyperthyroid from the cancer. And then as soon as they took it out, I went to the complete opposite of the spectrum within a week. I was like overheated. I actually almost passed out from heat exhaustion because I didn't know that I had it. Like I thought I was cold, and like my roommate came home at the time and he was like, no, you need the air conditioner on. You need to take off the sweater. You're like overheating.
Ooh.
And I was like, I don't understand this I was like very confused because I had been cold for like a decade, more than a decade. I spent well, I never got above 135 pounds until my 30s.
Wow.
When I say I was always cold, I mean I would walk into restaurants. I would always have a sweater just for the car ride because all of my friends were like people who normally overheated, so they never wanted extra layers. And then I'd be like, oh, I'm in the movie theater and now I'm shivering because the air conditioner is on a normal amount for the summer, but I was just too cold. I was just, So.
Yeah. No, over the last probably year or so, my feet have decided to be cold. It's a circulation thing. My doctor has simply said, okay, you need to wear socks that don't constrict, you can wear the compression socks because they don't constrict in a spot. They're a full sleeve of support. But she's like, no, you need to massage your calves, massage your lower leg before you go to bed. Otherwise, your feet will freeze. So, yeah. So, I'm known as a groundhog by my neighbors. They know spring is coming when I come out from my house. Yeah, hibernate in the winter, spring and summer person. That's right. Can you tell it's going to be an early spring? Let's see.
That's funny.
So, yeah. Yes. Hello, Izzy. Nice to see you. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, no, I definitely enjoy. I am a spring and autumn person. I'm not a huge fan of the extremes. Where I live, it can get really, really hot and go really, really cold. Like it's going to be minus 30 something here in the next few days. So it's going to be cold.
Yeah, it snowed today.
And then, oh no, it snowed.
I woke up, well, for us, I was expecting it a lot earlier. Like usually we would have gotten snow like mid-November, but we didn't get any until now. But it was the difference between waking up yesterday and being like, okay, the air pressure, and then waking up today being like, it's going to snow because my entire body can feel it.
Ooh, yeah.
And then we ordered in food for dinner, and my roommate's like, "Yeah, nope, it snowed." And I'm like, "I know, I can feel it.
Feel it in my bones.
My body language
Yes.
can feel it." No.
So Joel's thin. He's always liked warm weather better. Yeah, now in my old age, cold messes with me a lot. Oh, for sure. Living in Colorado is great in the summer, but sucks in the winter. I can imagine that. Absolutely. Yeah. Minus 30, absolutely not. Nope, that's right. And I don't know what it is, but my whole life, my knees have hurt. And it's not to do with the weather, which is really strange. But my knees just, I have no idea why, but they just ache. And I have been examined for like x-rayed and things like that for rheumatoid or just arthritis in general. And in the last few years, they've said, yes, you have some arthritis in your knees, but nothing that should have shown up when I was a kid. So I don't know what it is with me.
We can be mysteries together, Kim.
Between you and me, honey, we are.
We need a Sherlock Holmes just for our health bill. Like,
my
doctor's like, "You're only 34. We don't understand." And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm telling you, there could be genetic component conditions that you could be testing me for, but no, we got to go through the red tape first."
Of course,
but
yes,
I'll feel it in my knees and my ankles as well. Like when the cold drops, like when we had a week where it was 80, and then the next day, 2 days later, it was 50. I was like on my back for 2 days. I was like, I can't.
Oh,
do this.
Exactly.
Ease me in. Nope. Can I still have fall? If we're going to go from summer to winter, can I still have fall where you gradually, nope, you got to throw me in.
Give me 2 or 3 days at least, somewhere in there. Yeah, exactly. Oh, thank you, Brazy Girl. I really appreciate that. Babies are the same, just one day at a time. So Nico
you
says,
in my thoughts, Aria.
Yeah. You can feel the weather too. Whoops, that's not the one I wanted. That's not the one I wanted either. The chat's moving and my cursor isn't moving with it. It's the changes in the air pressure. Absolutely. Try to track pain with a barometer. No doubt. For sure.
No, yeah, the barometric air pressure, no joke. Like somebody said, "Oh, you probably don't like fireworks displays anymore going out because they charge the air with electricity or energy."
And so does lightning.
And
lightning does that too.
On your nerves. And so instead of like laying on the blanket enjoying the pretty colors, your nerves are like, ah. And I was like, you know what? Actually, that could make a lot of sense. I never thought about it that way. I just thought I was overwhelmed with the crowds. Like after lockdown for so long, I was like, the crowds are just too much. And someone's like, no, it's probably all those people, a lot of people in an area also boosts like heat and energy and all that stuff too.
Absolutely.
And I was like,
absolutely.
I never thought of it that way.
Okay, so I feel better from lightning, actually. I do have TENS, TENSE, but I rarely use it. Please explain what TENS is, because that is not an acronym I'm familiar with.
Me neither. I'm curious.
Drop. Okay, so temperature drop, snow, rain, I can feel it all. Oh, Aria, I understand. I absolutely understand that. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how your surroundings, whether it be through people, whether it be through environment, whether it be through like the colors you have around your home, can completely change how you feel in a room, in a public area, in a green space, in all of these different areas. There's so many environmental components that we don't even imagine that our whole being is being bombarded with, right?
Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly right.
Radio waves, air waves, electricity waves, temperature waves.
Oh man, we're just wavy
Colors,
people.
so much
Yes,
wave.
absolutely.
Microwaves.
Yeah, so many waves. Yeah. Oh, and some
I was
days
gonna say
Nico
too.
gets headaches and he doesn't have to check the weather. Okay, so a TENS machine. Got it. Yes. Yes.
Oh, it
Okay,
runs
I
a low
didn't.
current of electricity to stimulate muscles. Interesting.
Yes. Okay, I have one of those as well. I've never seen it with an E at the end though. That was my confusion. So
I don't think
yeah.
I've heard of that, but I'm just thinking of the way that my body is currently with my nerves not firing correctly, and I'm like,
Well,
I
it
wonder.
kind of it interrupts your body's natural electrical impulses to your muscles. So if you have it on just a very, very low current, it is simply going to interact like this with the muscles. If you have a higher
Oh,
current, it can actually really stimulate to the point of
so does the low current
I
help
guess
like
I'm tense.
relax, or is it the point to get it active?
It depends on the problem.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah, no, it does depend on the problem. There is a doctor in Canada named Dr. Ho, H-O. He's Chinese or Korean,
Oh,
one or the other.
Nico. He made a joke. He said,
Uh,
it is TENS, but I guess I am tense, LOL.
Tense also, absolutely. And as long as you're not too many verb tenses, we're okay. So, because that would just be
EMS.
confusing.
What does EMS stand for?
Electrical,
Magnetic.
medical stimulation, or
Oh,
something like
gotcha.
that.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, mine also has the
Oh, I
EMS
see.
feature as well. So Barbie, you are in Canada. You probably have a Dr. Ho, because what it does is a TENS machine has the same pulse all the time, and it depends on how fast you have it going as to the frequency, but it's always the same pattern. Whereas the one that I have, and it sounds like probably the one Barbie has as well, it varies its electrical pulse patterns so that your body isn't just going to get used to, okay, this is the flash of this type of electricity. And so it'll do, and then do. So it's just really a very interesting. Yeah, I love mine. I haven't used it in a long time. I really should try it on my legs.
I should ask my doctor if something like that would be helpful for me. Because I've started to get excited about the New Year's goals I have to eat better and also do exercise. But
yeah,
now that I know I knew there was chair yoga. I just didn't have a good chair for it. So I'm getting a good chair for it. So I'm excited to kind of learn how to work with my body now. Because I think that
what
also
program are you using for chair yoga?
I just do like intro to chair yoga on YouTube because I don't have like an app or anything, and our TV's pretty big, so I can like see all the movements. That, or I'll do like a short 7-minute sit exercises. It's like same concept as chair yoga, but it's like more for toning. I'm trying to build my like shoulder and neck muscles to see if that kind of helps relieve the pain that I have in my neck usually.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The reason I ask is because I have a friend who does yoga, and she does chair yoga online through Zoom.
Oh.
And she charges you in Canadian dollars. So it would cost you about 3/4 the amount it would cost me. And it would cost me about $42 a month. And then, so you'll get the one day of your yoga, and then you get the recording of it that you can use for the entire rest of the week. And if you're in the Zoom thing with her, she can say, okay, Indigo, change your body position, do this. And it's personalized. So it's very, very reasonably priced.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, I'll send you her information.
Yes, that sounds really good, because I used to use an app. Hi, Adrian. It's good to see you.
Hello.
I get so happy. Like, I used to wonder why, like people felt so happy when they saw people's names in the chat, and then I started helping people with their channel, and I'm like, I get it now. The warm, fuzzy feeling when I see names I recognize.
I know, right?
Or for being in chats with people too. Well, I think that's the other thing is, meeting so many people who have similar neurodivergencies or pain issues where it's like I learn something from the chat new every day, but also just not having to, like you said, over explain. Not to like, because my friends who are healthy and don't have chronic issues,
they have no clue.
I was like that until I was 21. And then I lost that version of me and had to get to know myself.
And then there's a grieving process in there, isn't there?
Yes.
Like, it's a whole grieving process of who am I? What am I? Yesterday when I talked about, like in my devotional, I talked about new. Well, new can be good and it can be bad, right? New doesn't necessarily mean always it's a good thing. So it's if anybody wants to hear about some strange newness in my life over the years, take a look at yesterday's devotional. It was not necessarily biblical, but it was a lot of experience that I've gone through. So yeah.
And that's the interesting thing too, is I wonder if body language is affected by chronic pain and stuff. Like, do people with chronic pain have different baselines than people without it? Like, so for example, if they use slouching as a benchmark, like, oh, can you sit up straight? No.
No, but what they will do is they will use gradual slouching as an indicator. So for example, I'm sitting here and I'm really alert, and then suddenly I'm like leaning back a little bit. Okay, so obviously then there's been something to make me move. Okay, and then there is and then maybe I'll start to just kind of slouch down in my chair a little bit, or kind of do this, and just kind of, you're reducing your body space, and that ends up making for a whole lot to analyze. So yes, good to see you, Nico. Oh, it's 2:30 a.m. Go get some sleep, my friend. Oh,
I always appreciate our UK,
European,
New Zealand,
absolutely,
Asian,
Aussie
people, because they're always just like so casually like, oh, I should go to bed. It's 3 a.m. I'm like, please sleep.
Yes, please do.
Yes, please.
Actually, we should probably close
wrap
for
up
tonight.
Yeah,
we'll wrap up. Let's see. Tomorrow we will be talking about, or not tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow there is the Bible devotion at 2 in the afternoon again, and on, let's see, every day. Basically, I shouldn't say basically. It is every day, and I try to keep it at 2 o'clock. Just kind of, that's so everybody kind of knows when to show up. On Tuesday the 7th, though, I am so excited. I'm having Barbie on as my guest.
Ooh, 7 p.m.
This is my first time. Yeah.
Wait, are you still on Central Time?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
will be on Central Time until spring.
Until spring. Yeah. Okay, I just looked up a time zone infographic so I could remember like which time zone you're in.
Awesome. No, Saskatchewan is where I live, and we don't change time zones or times. We change time zones. So we we are Central Time Zone now. We become Mountain Time Zone later.
Is that because of daylight savings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you go to your daylight savings time in the spring, that's when we change to 2 hours off of Central Time Zone. Right now, we're just 1 hour off. So
gotcha. That makes sense.
Yes. Oh, Barbie, don't be nervous, my friend.
We'll be here for you, Barbie. We got you.
Absolutely. We will. And I promise I don't bite unless you pay me extra. But I mean, honestly, no, it's
good to know.
Hey,
I will say, if anybody gives me a reason to, I will swing the wrench, no questions asked. And then if I make a mistake,
yes, let me tell you.
If I make a mistake, I will own it. But like, yeah, we got you. I'm so excited.
Absolutely.
That's another thing about this community and your channel that I absolutely love, is that people have over time have become comfortable to either reach out to you and tell their story or say like I'm used to be a lurker and now I feel comfortable talking in the chat or I want to be interviewed. And it's just amazing seeing your growth as well, where you like started blossoming.
I am so grateful. Absolutely. I am so grateful for everybody who has opened up to share themselves, trusted me enough to allow you to be yourself, you know, because I have amazing wrenches in my universe here. This particular wrench is going to be doing a wrench special. She's going to be doing a mod class at some point. We don't know when exactly.
Love to. Yeah, I just have to look at that. And then, I've been working with Misha in the background, coming up with ideas and documents that we could share with other channels and reaching out to people. So it's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
Then once I do the classes, I'll have to get brave enough to go to larger channels. I like the small channels.
No, what you do is you say, okay, I have a link to this channel. This is the episode where we talked about it. Okay. And then, so you do it at that low point or that low level channel. And it's much like myself, you know, like I have this many people. I've had, you know, I had like 200 subs for the longest time. And now it's like, oh, this is so cool. It's growing. And when it starts to grow, it grows quickly because these people are now telling these people, and it just grows like that. So
that's true too.
What I would do is I would suggest you have it on one or two people's channels and you refer other people to this is where you can find the information. And then when you're more comfortable with larger, then you go larger. But just know where to refer to people to begin with.
Adrian, if you're trying to sleep, I would definitely do tea. Coffee is gonna give you caffeine. But if you do herbal tea, I do that.
Herbal.
Yes. But I do either chamomile, like just straight up, or a lot of like the sleepy time oriented teas will have like lavender or like other calming things in there.
Unless of course you have ADHD, in which case have as much caffeine as you want, because caffeine will put you to sleep.
Isn't it so interesting?
Isn't that just ironic?
Like it's so strange. But we do appreciate you guys coming and can't wait for Barbie's interview.
Thank you, everybody. And I'm really looking forward to being Barbie's first foray into public sharing. So I'm really, really excited about this. And just so you know, Barbie, we're probably going to simply start out by talking about growing up in Newfoundland. We had a lovely discussion today. And I want to start with something very easy, very comfortable, something that you could do just kind of right off the top of your head and not have to worry about doing research for or putting things the right way or whatever. So we're going to end up talking probably about growing up in Newfoundland. So yes, have an awesome evening, folks. Thank you to my meditation miracle people who came in, who helped me out. Oh, man, am I grateful for you. Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. All right. We'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Bye.